Welcome to a new episode of Outside the Panels with your host, Johnny the Machine Hughes.
Welcome everyone to an episode of Outside the Panels. I'm your host, Johnny the Machine Hughes, and no, football season hasn't started early. I'm just missing my beloved Miami Dolphins. What can I say? This time around, you know how much I love an interesting, intriguing indie book, and I have got just the peach for you. Here we go. We're going to talk to under God created Dan Membiela. Dan.
Wonderful
Whoa!
pronunciation. Thank you so much, Johnny.
Oh, good.
Happy to be
All
here.
those practicing with all those DT names actually made it count. Dan,
You did great.
First off, let me just say from the get-go, thank you so much for being patient. For those that don't know, and you won't, Dan contacted me a little while ago to talk about his book, and for whatever reason, being family, being stuff, being life, somehow along the lines, we kind of got our wires crossed and things got delayed. And Dan, bless his cotton sock, he's stuck with us to talk to me. So, Dan, thank you so much for hanging around. I really do appreciate that.
That was the easiest workaround that I've ever had to do. So I mean, it was essentially zero problem. And I want to thank you very much for creating Outside the Panels, making space for indie creators, and making space for me on your show. I really truly appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. That's
Thank
so
you
nice.
very, very much.
That's so nice. On outside, we love indie books. We love Kickstarters. We like the small press. You know, we feel, or I feel, that some of the greatest storytelling is done in the indie market purely because, you know, no holds barred. You can absolutely do anything, right?
Yeah.
I mean, hey,
that garage band feel, right? Everybody always likes the earlier albums of.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I wonder if Counting Crows realized that the first album was like the best album. Don't tell them that. Yeah. Don't tell them that. Just saying. This book, Under God, is a prime example of what we're talking about. All right. In today's social climate, it's a brave man who goes and takes a stance, or not take a stance, ironically, with religion in mind. So tell us about Under God. What's the premise? What's the 411?
So the elevator pitch is a young woman's mission of mercy turns deadly as she learns her role in the oppression of those she meant to aid. And Under God takes place in a near future America where the talking points of some people who are squarely in the right, not even far right, have come to pass. And there has been a blue-red divorce. There are big, beautiful walls, but they now are borders of states that used to be part of the United States that have now been locked out of the United States. And Holy United States is a Christian nationalist theocracy, which, I mean, it's just, again, people in power who were voted into power are saying that these are things that we should be striving for or aiming towards. So it's you know, I've said it, I'm repeating myself, but I've said it many times that lots of times I've tweeted, can reality just hold it together long enough so that my comic can come out and be, you know, a little thought experiment, fictional thing, rather than like a quaint social studies, you know, sidebar. So it deals with that. It does deal, it's in the name, it deals with religion, but I feel that it actually deals more with the weaponization of religion.
That's good shout.
I don't think that Under God is critical of religion. I think Under God is extremely critical of those who would use religion. So in other words, it's not critical at all of the message. It's highly critical of the messengers.
And you know what? This is a really valid point that you're making. I've been privy to read the book, and on first glance, I'll in fact, I tell you what, I'll put my cards on the table right now. I am not a religious person, one way or the other. Right? That's just who I am, I guess. And if people believe in a God, that's great for them. If people don't believe in a God, that's great for them. If you believe in Yoda, fine, believe in Yoda. I don't care. Right? It just has no bearing on me whatsoever. So when I get a book that has the title Under God, automatically gets my spider sense tingling, and I'm start reading this book. And I'm not gonna lie, Dan. I'm not gonna lie. First time through, I was like, "What is this?"
Nailed it.
I was like, "What the hell is good?" So then I put it one side, and I thought, well, I'll just reflect a little bit, and then I had another look at it, and I liked some of the art. Some of the art really works. I'm like, okay, and then for whatever reason, as I said earlier, we kind of missed the boat a little bit, and then since then I've had a chance to reflect, and this is what I think the key to enjoying this book is. You are absolutely right, in that it doesn't promote nor does it denigrate religion. Religion's just there. It's how the people involved react to their particular cause.
Exactly.
Yeah. So for anyone who takes a knee-jerk reaction like I did, give yourselves heads a shake. Take 10 minutes and go back and reread it.
I actually had a rejection letter when I was shopping it around, and the publisher in the rejection letter, the editor stated, it's too simplistic to say that if you have religion, you're bad, and that if you're an unbeliever, you're good. And I freaked out a little bit and thought, is that what's coming across in this story?
Yeah.
And I sent it to my friends and my family, and they all said, no, this person just never read Under God.
And that's it. You need that step. Because that's exactly how it reads at first glance when you're just like flipping through. And I get why the editor would say that, because they get so many submissions, right?
Right.
Yeah, I get these just flying through and taking like
at a surface level.
He's taking the headlines.
I know what this is going to be.
Yeah, exactly.
This is going to be crap on anyone who's religious.
Girl joins cult to downtrodden. Yeah.
I don't need to read anymore.
Yeah, exactly. It's more than that. In fact, I'll tell you what. I'll give you a massive compliment on this one. It's very much akin to the type of stuff the West Wing used to do very well. If you remember the show, the West Wing would pose an argument, and during the show you would get both sides, and it's up to the reader or the viewer in that case to make their own decision. So I think that's a really good piece of storytelling you've absolutely crafted there.
Thank you very much, Johnny. I appreciate that very, very much.
What can I say? Well, I'm glad to keep it real. So, writer artist, we're going to have a look at the book in a little while. Which did you find easiest and which did you find harder, writing or drawing?
Drawing is definitely a harder physical lift. It just takes longer. It's more time consuming. It's more involved. There's a lot of thinking in the drawing process. So I don't want to poo-poo the writing part of it, or any writer, or the hard work and imagination and creativity that goes into writing and structuring things properly. But creating the art for me was the bigger lift of the project.
Interesting.
So we have little chapter headers here with vessels throughout. There's 3 chapters.
I don't know, because I think the story is so complicated, or not complicated, so complex and layered. I definitely think trying to keep your soldiers in a row without coming across preachy on either side, that's a talent.
Thank you.
I think that's really, really tricky to balance throughout a run or throughout a series of books without, going one way or the other. But I'm just, this is just the view from the cheap seats. What do I know, right?
I mean, I'm looking at, the 2 race. If I split them into 2 races that I had to run, the one where I was really, really winded at the end was the art race. The writing race. I mean, when you're doing it together, there are so many things that are interconnected. Here's a outside the panels exclusive behind the scenes on Under God. please don't give it away, but there's a message and an exciting image at the very end of the story.
Um,
The the that was never going to be like that. That was
oh,
it
really?
was those events were happening, but then I thought, oh well, wait a second. If it's this situation, why not have this happen? So I like doing it myself, writing and art. Really, I melded a lot of the two together. Once I
Uh-huh.
started drawing, there were several parts where I thought, oh, you know what, this is gonna work better this way.
Okay, cool.
The like there's a scene where uh um a plan is being made, so they're
Yep.
figuring something out.
Hmm.
That in the script was, I mean, there was no way you could get to that image from what I put
Mm.
in the script. It was like them, essentially a plan is being made. But then
Yeah.
when it was came time to do it, I thought, oh, this
I can just
this would be
imagine.
this would be nice.
I can just imagine you, the artist, looks at the writer saying, "There's a plan being hashed," and you're like, "Is that all you're giving me,
Yeah, I mean,
son of a?" Why that
yeah,
writer's getting fired in the morning?
yeah. And I've really thought that many times, like when to other writer artists, if you're writing with your artist brain,
Hmm.
congratulations, because I wasn't able to. Like I
Yeah.
I had to write with my writer brain, and then when it was time to be the artist, I would see things and say like, oh, I mean, yeah, structurally it's all there, but I'm
Hmm.
not going to tell it that way. I'm going to tell it this other way because it's going to look so much better if I do it this other way. So
Very good. So you've kind of laid the groundwork for kind of what this uh, book is about. Where did you find the inspiration for this book, Dan? Is it purely just a kind of critique on America's love? I was going to say infatuation, but it'll be nice. Love of the religious, or is it the fact that you wanted to pose something that there are two distinct sides? Because there are, and characters go through changes amongst that. So I'm intrigued into the inspiration for that.
well, the very first spark for the story was just the contemplation of so many people who are in the right, who are Christian,
Hmm.
who have the power to put into effect and have the government put into effect the things that are foundational to Christianity, opt not to, and fight,
Right.
not don't just opt not to, fight tooth and nail not to allow works of mercy to become things that the government want. Like, you know I've often wondered, with this love of theocracy, of a national, Christian nationalism, would that mean that there'd be universal health care? Like, if there was a if there was a Christian theocracy, what would they then give the works of mercy? Would they feed the hungry? Would they clothe the naked? Would they, like,
Mm.
what,
Yeah. So yeah. So where would the idea of what is preached as a religious model, where would it stop? Where would it start?
right? And the
And in
yeah,
this book, there is that element of there's the haves and the have-nots.
right,
And the haves are obviously the religious side, and the have-nots are the ones that are deemed unworthy.
right.
All
And
right, cool.
for a variety, yeah, for whatever, if you get put in that unworthy column, and it could be for many different reasons, we see it's not just one reason.
Yeah,
You are on the other side of the wall.
yeah. I'd be there for my long hair and love of Miami Dolphins. They'd be like, Dolphins, no, get out. We're Buffalo Bill fans here. Uh, boo,
I
Dolphins.
don't know anything about sports, but I think you just said that all Bills fans are Christian nationalists.
Well, I didn't say that.
No, I'm
What
just
I'm
teasing.
saying is all
I'm
Dolphin
just
fans are cool and all Bills fans aren't.
I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
Okay, okay. Interesting. I mean, the character Samantha is the one that kind of is the catalyst for this. She's the one that's going through the graduation and leading to a higher purpose. And it's fair to say that the rug gets pulled from her pretty quickly.
Yeah, things go wrong right away. Everything is supposed to go as planned, and she's the voice of confidence at the beginning of the story of how all their high achieving successes have led them to this moment and this celebration, and then it does go horribly wrong for them very quickly.
So because of her journey, we attempted to increase the length of the book. I mean, it's a one shot now. Were you thought to yourself, well, you know what, we can make this like a mini series, we can make this a run, change the pace up a little bit, because things happen in quite sharp turns, don't they?
Yes, the movie, like I'm not sure if I'm phrasing it correctly, but I've, in my many rereadings of Under God, I've often thought, does it go down too smoothly? Is it a drink that happens? Does it? I mean, it definitely has all its points, but I am a big fan of periods of storytelling that are silent. So I think that also helps that sense of, oh, we're going right through these parts. But I think they work, and I don't do them gratuitously. I do them when they are important. There's reaction shots of there's multiple reactions where it's, the art is telling you what the reaction is. You don't need a narrator to say, like, and exactly. she felt this.
Stop. There's a whole band of publishing that does that. It's like, don't tell me what I'm looking at the pictures. I can work it out myself. Like.
Yeah, exactly.
It's interesting because we talked at the start about indie books, right? I sometimes feel that because indie books are quite unknown to people, they've got to get the hook straight away.
Right.
That you've got to strike while the iron's hot. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing that things happen in short order, primarily because an indie book doesn't have that cross-media appeal like a Bat book. So DC can say, right, we're going to have a Batman story, and he's going to fight the villain. That's all well and good, but it starts on issue 1, and by the time you get to the villain, it's issue 10. You're like, what happened?
Yeah.
Because it's Batman, people are going to buy it no matter what, right? So
I couldn't take the risk that chapter 3 was going to be another book, because it's up to the people to if they want to Under God 2, let's see that it's feasible in the market to have an Under God 2.
So then, just between us, no spoilers, right?
Yes.
Is there scope for an Under Gods 2?
That world continues spinning. I feel that there is a story. The storyline ends, but it ends in a very fertile zone, and it actually ends. It actually ends with Samantha in a reversal of the.
Whoa. Don't give the game away. Jeez. See, this is what happens when you get a creator on the book, on the show.
You almost tricked me into spoiling.
I'm not. Whoa. The book's in Previews World. Go check it out. There's your code for it straight away. Making Previews World, man, that's pretty big. You must be pissed about that.
Very, very happy that it's in Previews World. I got the little spotlight in the Previews magazine. That's nice. Yeah. And I think you can go this week. What is it? Monday? When you go get your new books this week, tell your local comic shop to order you Under God from Band of Bards in the April previews. Orders have to be in by the 27th, I believe.
Well, you got a little bit of time. There you go. On the previews website, there it is.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, it's like I've done this before.
Yeah, it's there, and you can definitely also order it at the Band of Bards store. But you get it on...
now you're making me work for this. I tell you.
Well,
I've done this before. Band of Bards.
Once you started raising the level of excellence, I had to try to keep on the razor's edge.
Yeah, so fun.
But you want to get it there. It is at the bandofbards.com/bard-shop. But you want to get it at your comic shop. You want to be there on New Comic Day and pick up Under God.
Is there a digital copy available? Because we do have a lot of international fans.
Global Comics. It's available on Global Comics. Yep.
Cool. There you go. Excellent. Right. Cool. We're going to take a break for one of our ads. Where shall we go? Where should we go? Should we go short? I tell you what. One of my favorite ads. Check it out. It's the Old Timers.
Do you want to find out what makes the professor do his happy dance? Check out the Old Timers Comic Book Show, only on the UCPN.
That's right, the Old Timers Comic Book Show, where the hosts aren't old, but the comics most certainly are. So comics that are from yesteryear, take a look at that show. They do Marvel, DC, indie books, the whole range.
Fun.
The whole gauntlet. There you go. Don't trust them on the speculation, though, because they never pick expensive books. Well, depends, Yeah.
As long as you like the book, that's what makes
it. Pretty much. That's what makes the show fun. Nobody picks a bad book because the books they like, right? So
that's cool. I actually used to work in a comic shop, and it was in the '90s, and there was all that speculation going on, like the death of Superman happened while I was working there, and Image Comics started while I was working there, and people would come in and literally say, "Will this book be in these words? Will this book be worth?" Is the question they would ask, and we would say, you have to like the book so that if 10 years from now you find it, you still enjoy it, even if on the market it's worthless. So don't buy this book because you think it's going to be an investment. Buy the book because you like the book.
Good to pay 1.5 million people didn't think that about X-Men.
No.
This book, which by the way I've recently picked up in a pound bin, like a dollar bin for Americans, it was like there 50 cents. And it was a gatefold cover as well. I was like, check it out. Will this get me through college? Nope,
not at all.
Not at all.
So you better enjoy it. You better put a smile on your face when you look at it, because that's all it can do for you, really.
Yeah, Jim Lee, Rogue, and Psylocke. Not saying anything bad about them at all. All right, so you've been around comics a while. What is it that drew you into comics in the first place, Dan?
So I have a very nerd friendly household as a kid, and my brother was 10 years older than me, so the comics were literally in the house before I was in the house. So I was brought into a house that already had comic books in it. So I would raid my brother's stash of comics and black and white Conan magazines, and it was all downhill from there.
Downhill. All right, okay. So Conan, so your brother was a Marvel fan then? Or was it
everything? Marvel, DC, yeah. Although we probably did buy more Marvel I think I buy more DC now, but we probably did buy more Marvel back then.
So what's on your reading plate as we speak?
I have a lot to catch up on. Like it's a strange monkey paw of like, I wish I could make comics. Like, granted, now you don't have time to do. You don't have time to read comics or do anything else.
Don't. But I've got a read pile like this.
Yeah,
it's like a huge pile of comics. Because I review for Comic Crusaders and I have to do podcasts. By the time I've done this, I'm like, I can't look at another book. And then I go to a comic book shop on a Saturday and I buy my order. And then I recently bought, the 92 Black Canary mini-series and its subsequent series by Trevor Van Eden. Bought that.
Nice.
£20 for something like 22 issues or something crazy like that. My wife's like, when are you going to read those? I'm like, after the 56 Supergirls I've got.
Yeah, so so I definitely have the last part of Gotham City Year One. Is that what the book's called? Gotham Year One, I think is
Gotham Year One. Yeah.
Gotham Year One.
Yeah,
I have all of. I think I read the first part of Defenders Beyond. I have all of that to read.
Okay, cool.
I loved the first one with Ewing and I think it's Ramirez.
Everybody loves Al Ewing. I'm not sure I get away with it all the time, to be honest.
I mean, have you tried? Did you try the Defenders book that they did like a year ago?
No, it's kind of. I'm not. He's a great guy, and everyone tells me he's Incredible Hulk or in Horrible Hulk or whatever.
Oh, Immortal Hulk. I never read this.
Yeah, everyone says that's great. Now I've read it a couple of times. It's just not my
Oh,
thing.
okay.
Some writers just don't gel, and I think
Yeah, I mean, like you said, there's 57 channels. Like, there's no reason to
pretty
try to force the one to.
I think Marvel wise at the moment, Marvel tend to cancel the books that I'm reading. I don't know what's going on, so I don't know.
Don't let them know. Don't let them know. Why?
So sorry, Amazing Spider-Man fans is what I'm saying.
Okay.
All joking aside, I'm reading Captain Marvel. The Kelly Thompson run has just been spectacular. It's always bats. I read shed loads of bats. So not every bats. And then what am I reading independent wise? I'm reading Love Kills from Image.
Okay.
Which is really super dark. Just finished Fight Girls. Sorry, that was fun.
Okay.
Like Frank Chow. Yeah. So I read also, and of course, I review for Crusaders. So
I think you're also reading from Image because I saw the show, and that's in my catch up pile also because I've only read the second issue, but I have the first and the third to catch up on. Is Black Cloak.
Yes,
that's a great book, huh?
Yes,
and that art is so. I love that. I think Meredith McLaren, I think, is the artist.
Yeah, she's fantastic. She did it.
It's so unique. It's so it really. I just tweeted this last week that it gives me the feeling of like in the late '80s when there were this notion of like independent comics, and they look so different from Marvel and DC, but it was professional art, but just very, very different. It gives me that same feeling. Like it's so great.
Meredith, she does a great book. Let's see if I can find the title for it because it's one of those crazy funny books. What was it called? What's it called? It's something about sexy fun times. I'm sure it is. Sexy fun times off the top of my head.
Careful.
That's what it's called. Super sexy fun times.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's called. And in it is basically a whole bunch of superheroes that you kind of quite know, but kind of don't know at all. And each genre, gender, sexuality, fetish, whatever you want to call it, gets an explore as it is. But she's written it and she's drawn it and it's funny.
She writes and draws.
Yeah, it is absolutely super funny. It's worth.
Tell me the title one more time.
It's called Super Sexy Fun Times.
Super Sexy Fun Times.
I'll share it with you after the.
Thank you.
After the pod. But it's a really good, it's a really funny book. Absolutely spot on. So when I saw Meredith on Black Cloak with Kelly Thompson, I was like, "Whoa, this is brilliant!" And the Scream's Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Logan's Run. The whole thing's on there. It's like I sat there. I was like that. Unbelievable.
Yeah, and like that. Very, very, very interesting. Like sci-fi and fantasy. Fusion. Like it's very unique in that style. Yeah, and then it's just gorgeous to look at. Like the way she draws is just wonderful. Like it's really very new. Like it's just nice to see something like again that feel. I hope that makes sense. That feeling of like when those early independents came out, they were just like, wow, I've never seen styles like this, or to see Matt Wagner for the first time. So many amazing cool artists, but it gives me that same feeling like, wow, this is totally new.
It's like when Mignola turned the corner, when he was doing like the standard Worlds of Krypton stuff for DC, like, it's boring. Then he drops Gotham by Gaslight, and you're like, whoa, where did this come from? Yeah. So I totally get it, man. Totally get it. And I think you can bring up the 80s, and it's a great point that the mainstream comics there were embedded with their house style.
Right.
Yeah, it's like everyone was like a 15th generation Neil Adams clone, practically. Neil Adams was great. Don't Don't get me, don't send me hate mail.
And
Neil
still,
Adams was
even a
great.
lot of great art in the in those eras, in those
Yeah,
Marvel DC
totally. I mean, I
but it
love
was
Jim
just-
Aparo. Jim Aparo is my Batman artist, so
Yeah.
Jim Aparo would be deemed through historian eyes even as a generation of Neil Adams. So it's fine.
Right.
Get it. But you're absolutely right. That uniqueness, that blend.
Yeah, it's so nice to see something. Wow, it's like,
Well, I'm going to say something here that I actually think your art kind of has that kind of impact.
oh well, thank you.
It maybe doesn't have the whole polish look, but look at this page we're looking at here. This page you kindly sent us along. There is a lot of movement through the panel there, action wise. I've picked a page with none of the dialogue in. You can see what's going on. All right, and it doesn't look mainstream in any shape, way, or form. Does it look indie? Yes, it does. Does it tell the story well? Yes, it does. So I think you need to maybe give yourself a pat on the back.
I appreciate it. This was a fun sequence where their encounter between the unbelievers and the soldiers trying to bring back Samantha.
Is this when you rehired the writer and said,
yeah.
Write it down, you're back on the and write it down at that point. It says, artist Dan, screw you.
You're on your own. You figure it out. My part's done.
Yeah, I'm going to give you 22 pages. Crack on.
Yeah, thank you. This is a very fun page. I like the one guy's been hit and his helmet, and he's pulling it off, and the other guy's getting hit. So I think there's some nice things going on there.
I'm impressed you listened to one of the shows. I'm like, whoa.
Hey, I had to make sure everything how I had to take a temp of the water. I had to stick my toe in and make sure. All right, this is gonna be fun with Johnny.
Yeah, make sure I'm not rude and I'm not just. It's all right, right now. The book's black and white. Was that a creative choice or was that out of necessity?
It worked out to be a nice thing to have because it brought the cost down. Yeah. I love black and white art, and I think that Under God represents the very best of my art. It's the last project the latest project that I worked on. There's something about when a black and white piece is done right. I mean, a color pieces are amazing, and I love color pieces. You know what I'm an enormous fan of is these essential editions where they strip the color out.
On fire. Let's make the picture bigger. There you go.
Where they strip the color out.
Oh yeah. I've got
there's something in my weird brain when I see a black and white piece that really sings. It's really done well. Oh, it just sends me over the moon. So I always intended Under God to be black and white.
I'm going to ask a really, I was going to say biting question, but I'll go with. I'm going to ask this question and see where it goes. We're already kind of talking about subjects that are quite touchy for some people in religion. Was the idea of keeping it black and white with the idea of, fair enough, the byproduct is it keeps the cost down, well done, but it also takes away any possible ethnicity within the book, which could, I can't think of a better way to say this, color the interpretation of the message you're trying to say.
I didn't take that into account, and I actually hope that in my black and white art, it is clear that in that core group of unbelievers and rebels who caused trouble for Samantha, I hope it's clear that there are two black people. So I no, I didn't intend that.
It's just something that I'm looking at the back screen behind us, and it's part of the cover, and they've got the guy in the question mark mask, and I'm thinking, if all of them look like with that kind of face on, that kind of hood on, does that change the perception of what the message you're trying to do? Does that make sense?
It does make sense. The masks actually tie into a Bible. And again, the Bible verse is stated
Hmm.
in the opening ceremony before, while everyone is still pumped up and excited for their missionary work that they're going to go
Hmm.
on, that when you give, your left hand should not know what your right hand is doing. So they cover their faces so that then when they give, on almsgiving day is the ceremony,
Uh-huh.
when they give alms to the poor, no one can tell who they are. So it's anonymous giving. So that's the intent of the question mark
Cool.
mask. Also, I think the little negative space inside the question mark being the brow of a person's face just looks really sick, looks really cool.
Yeah, it
So
does. It does.
so I melded those two together and it worked for me.
No, it's good. It's intriguing. As I said, the idea behind the book, it's brave writing, absolutely,
Thank you.
because as you mentioned earlier in the pod, you know, people can get the wrong end of the stick and not understand it, right?
Right.
It's a brave person who sticks their neck out to try and tell a message like this, and just kind of try and keep it slap bang in the middle and let the reader make their own judgment. So I think kudos and a round of applause is required for you, Dad.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much, Johnny.
when I doodle and I draw at home and I write daft stories, it's all superheroes. There's nothing cleverer than that than superheroes in my brain.
I love
But
superheroes.
yeah, me too. But you know, you've come out with this idea that, you know, not everything is quite as it seems. Don't believe everything. It's funny. I was, upon my reflection, I I was listening to some Springsteen. I should be American. I really should. But, yeah, Miami Dolphins and Springsteen. And as my mind wanders through various things, I've got like his back catalogue. When thinking about this book, I kept thinking about the opening speech he says before goes into the live version of War. You know, the classic cover.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's
I'm
like
not
says
sure.
like it's like saying things like, where faith in the people and the people you vote and things you believe in can get you killed. And what I'm saying is, and then it kicks into the song, right? And that kind of opening preamble was in my head upon reflection of your book. And I think that pretty much sums it up on
Yeah,
that one.
yeah,
I
definitely.
don't think I can say more than that. If Springsteen says it, it's got to be right, right?
Yeah, and there's a moment where Samantha has a set of beliefs and a set of values, and
Yep.
unlike people in the real world who can be in those things can be at conflict with each
Mhm.
other nonstop, and you can go on and live a very successful, well-regarded life. In the fictional world, Samantha has to choose. So
Yeah.
there's that pivotal point where those two things come in stark, sharp contrast, and she has to make a choice.
And what a choice she has to make. If you're interested in the book, check out Previews World. There it is. It's on the website. You saw it earlier. Go down to your local comic book shop. Get the code in. 27th. Man, that's next week. So when you go down there and look on New Comic Book Day,
NCBD.
get the code put in. All right. If you want to try something different, go for it. Enjoy it. You want even more information? Check out Band of Bards. Where does the title Band of Bards come from? Please don't tell me it's Shakespeare.
I do not know. The Band of Bards are great people to work with. I don't know. I would imagine. I was going to guess it has to do with Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, maybe.
That's what I would have guessed.
Oh, okay, cool.
But I mean, when you say Shakespeare, it made a lot more sense. But I always thought it was a Dungeons
don't
and
give me
Dragons
more
reference.
credit than I'm due, please. And of course, follow Dan on Twitter to keep everything up to date and fresh.
You can
And
hear me screaming about Undergod on Twitter at Dan Membiela.
Sounds like a plan to me. In fact, where is my Twitter? I'm sure we follow each other already.
Oh yeah, we do.
Yeah, good. Good, I could do that. Excellent, cool. Dan, it's been an absolute blast talking to you. I really do appreciate
all my pleasure, Johnny. Thank you very much. And once again, thank you so much for making this outside the panels. Thank you so much for making space for indie creators, and then for making space for me as well. I truly appreciate it.
you are more than welcome. More than welcome. Anytime you want to hang out, just drop me a line.
Awesome. I'd love
talk comics till the cows come home.
Excellent.
All right, don't forget to check out the UCPN for all your favorite shows. You saw the advert for it earlier, the Old Timers Comic Book Show. And if you like everything Marvel, it's No Price Podcast for everything Marvel, Disney Plus and MCU. And if, like me, you're a DC fan, it's the Definitive Crusade for everything that's DC. You might even get around to some DC movies whenever they come out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I saw League of Super Pets this weekend. That was all right.
Oh yeah, I heard it's actually quite good. Did you enjoy it? Yeah,
I did.
I haven't seen it yet.
It wasn't as laugh out loud as I thought it was going to be, but it had its moments.
I saw the last one is Black Adam that I saw, and I enjoyed it. I mean,
Yeah.
I wish it had been. Sadly, I wish they were in a different mode and they were more integrated with things. But I enjoyed it. It had a twist. Even for me, knowing the story, I thought, oh, they're doing something different, and then I was like, oh no, they're doing the same thing. Like I'm
a Justice Society fan, so it's always good.
Yeah. What do you think about the no eyes on Dr. Fate's helmet?
Yeah, I'm all right with that.
I actually love it because it gave right away. It gave me the impression, why do you need to see? Naboo's in charge. Like
exactly.
you don't need to see anything.
Yeah, and also the idea is that Dr. Fate, he sees the fate. He doesn't need to look at the now. He's already. Yeah. You saw that last week. Maybe give him a call. How's my book going to do?
Yeah, I thought No Eyes was a weird and also otherworldly kind of feel.
You have to come back on and we'll talk about it because I have a whole host of ideas with characters in helmets. Tell me about it.
Excellent.
All right. That's it from me. As we said, check out UCPN. Dan has been a fantastic guest. Dan, good luck on your book.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for having me on it. This has been lovely. Thank you.
It's all right. And of course, I've been host Johnny Machine Hughes. As always, adios.
Adios.
Visit undercovercapes.com for the latest and greatest podcasts via the Undercover Capes Podcast Network. Also visit our parent company website, comiccrusaders.com, all about comic pop culture.